One local architect is assisting in the reconstruction of the St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church that was destroyed on September 11th at Ground Zero.
My name is Pete Karamitsanis, and I'm the owner's representative for the St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church and National Shrine in Ground Zero in New York City. The church was actually existing as a small little church at about 1,800 square feet in Ground Zero. And that's where all the Greek seafarers would go when they would come across, and all the immigrants would go when they first landed. And that's in the late 1800s. And it was in service since then. When Tower 2 fell on it, it got obviously pulverized. And it was the only house of worship in Ground Zero. So when the reconstruction happened, it was important to rebuild it, not only because it was an existing parish, but it's also a demonstration of how goodness triumphs over evil.
And that triumph has been very evident this entire process with all the many hands involved from across the globe.
I actually had to diagram where things were coming from just so that I could keep track of them. But the basis of the design is that the church will glow from within. And also there's a connection back to Greece by the fact that the marble for the church comes from the same quarry as the Parthenon. The marble leaves Greece in big sheets at 12 millimeters, goes to Germany to get cut in half at 6 millimeters, and it gets honed down to 3 millimeters. Then it goes to Austria. And in order for the marble to stand at 3 millimeters, it has to be put into two sheets of glass. But so that the church doesn't look like a glass building during the day when the sun shines, the outside face or the outside glass gets etched in Spain. Then it goes to Minneapolis, where it gets put into cassettes, and then it comes into the building to be hung. Then there are 40 skylights, glass skylights on the building that are 10 feet long, bent glass, quadruple glazed, blast proof. And the only place you can make that in the world is in New Zealand. So from New Zealand, they go to Windsor, Canada to be put into frames. Then they come into New York to be put on the building. And that's just for the marble. There's a lot of iconography in church, just like you see in this church. All the icons are hand-painted by the monks in Mount Athos in Greece. And then they'll be brought onto the church and put up onto the walls. So everything is custom made. The iconostasis, which is that part that separates the nave from behind us, separates the nave from the altar. That's all hand carved in Greece in marble. So we have a lot of work still to do to finish it.
Once finished, this church will not only be a place of worship, but a place to remember those who were lost on 9/11.
There's no other place in Ground Zero to contemplate or pray or think about the loved ones that were perished. So the church is intended to be a cenotaph for those people, and families are welcome regardless of denomination, regardless of belief. They're welcome to come into the church. There are places in church for them to be quiet, to think. And I think that's what it's a living memorial, in other words, for the people that perished.
And with the significance of what this church will be to so many, the Patriarch of the Orthodox Christians recently visited to officially consecrate the church.
The blessing of the cross and the raising of the cross on top of the church. And then a procession went through to where the old church was and had a small ceremony commemorating the dead, and then proceeded on to the church and officially opened the doors to the church. So while it's still under construction, the church was consecrated.
For Pete, as a Greek Orthodox himself, this endeavor has become a true legacy project.
For me, it's just, of all the work that I've done, and I've overseen and designed billions of dollars worth of work all over the world, this to me is the pinnacle of my career.
The official opening will be Easter of 2022 and will open to the public the following summer. Reporting in Tampa at St. John Church, I'm Brooke Rathmel.